couple months after I joined the band, I did my first tour of America, summer of '89. First time I had been to Texas, first time I'd had grits, first time I saw the Grand Canyon, like a lot of firsts on that one. Sleeping on people's floors, meeting lots of people everywhere. And then that winter, we did a really, really, really rough tour of Europe.
And define rough, like what were some examples of the roughness of the tour?
I slept on the floor of an old slaughterhouse that still had hooks in the ceiling. We were in the worst storm in the English Channel. The last boat let go. Boat didn't have stabilizers. I don't even know, like it felt like we were on like 100-foot waves the entire time, just like, rolling on the floor, throwing up. And then we got to England and there were jackknife trucks everywhere and uprooted trees. That was one thing. Somebody didn't pay protection money to the mafia in Rome, so that show got canceled. So we ended up playing a squatted World War II aircraft factory outside of Florence, I think, in front of like 4,000 kids of the Communist Youth League. And this was January, and like all the windows were smashed out, so it was freezing.
Right.
So we ate the like vegan stew and went on stage and tried to warm up. Those were a few things. It's
was it fun? I mean, do you miss that? I mean, it sounds like great stories. What could be more white zombie than sleeping in a slaughterhouse full of hooks? Right?
Yeah, I guess so. It was. I don't know. There wasn't a lot of fun going on then. I mean, there was a lot of. There were a lot of gratifying moments. Mm-hmm. We were all very, very driven, and it was almost like a military environment, and it was, everybody had that kind of thing of like, well, I'm not going to be the one to let the team down, you know what I mean?
So was it collective, or was like Rob or somebody sort of driving the...
That was collective, and that's why they let me be in the band, because I was like, yes, I will be like that.
Okay.
And cool. Whatever you tell me, at first I was like, well, how high do you want me to jump? That's what I will do.
Right.
And I developed a mind of my own pretty quickly, but, I did have that thing of like, I have $6, that's all I have. I can buy food or I can buy guitar strings. Of course, every time I will buy guitar strings. Like that's why they let me be in the band.
Yeah.
That's who they needed, because they hadn't had that before. But thinking about how we capture every moment and we record everything, that tour, like I was talking to Shauna about that tour, and we kept on thinking of more horrible things about it, and I realized
Shauna
like
being the bass
player, if we had all had cameras, like camera phones, we could make a book about just that tour, and it would probably be a very entertaining book
about the Europe tour.
Yeah. We. The way they would do it is they would assign you a tour manager, like the small DIY booking agency. They would assign you like a guy, and you would stay at his place on the days off, and then he would drive you around Europe. And we got this guy who was like the biggest asshole I'd ever met, like hated Americans, And
which country is this?
This is Holland.
Okay.
We when we weren't going to or coming back from a country, we were sleeping in his housing project apartment in Deventer, which is a suburb of Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. What a fucking asshole this guy was. They actually fired him afterwards because we told him exactly how mean he had been to us and how difficult. He hated everybody. Like he would belittle. Like we were in Italy, and he would belittle the Italians. Like, well, I'm from Holland. We are not stupid like you. I'm like, are you saying that to these people? Huh. Jesus. So that was rough.
God, and so how was he mean to the band?
You Americans don't understand anything. Oh, that was a terrible show.
Okay.
God.
Well,
you got to remember too, at this time, Reagan was still president.
Yeah.
And so I took a lot of abuse from a lot of people on that tour for being American. And it's like, oh, well, you Americans do this. I'm like, I'm a kid in a band. Like, guitars are what I want to talk about. It's like I know what's happening, and I'm not a fan of Reagan. If you think I voted for him, you're an idiot. But why are we talking about politics?
Right. And
I didn't
White
realize
Zombie is not a political band.
Exactly, and I didn't realize that. This is, well, actually, another very interesting thing about that tour was that was. You remember when the Berlin Wall came down? Mm-hmm. That was. The winter of '89-90, that's when we were in Berlin. I was actually there when the first East Germans were streaming through the wall, just by chance, But, so I didn't really I was obviously aware of the Cold War. We were talking about this. We both had to register for the draft, which seems kind of spooky now, you know. But I didn't realize the extent to which politics was driving everything, even the music scene in Europe. I didn't have any clue. You know, I was very sheltered. So I mean, maybe they were right to, you know, yell at me because I didn't understand the way they were living.
Right.
You know, maybe, I don't know.